Hello everyone, welcome back to our PowerShell Day 4 session. Today we'll learn about few tips and tricks of PowerShell. So let's begin with variable. What is variable? Variable is a kind of a storage or kind of container which can store data. So data can be of any types. It can be of string type, it can be of date type, it can be of integer type, and it can be of any decimal values also. So let's create, so how we can create a variable, how we can create a variable to store data. So in PowerShell, to create a variable, it's very simple way. You have to just write dollar and then you can write the variable name. Okay, so let's suppose we create a variable x. So we have to just begin with dollar sign and then I am giving the variable name. After that, you have to use equal to operator and you can assign any value to it. Now let's suppose I have to access the value of this variable x. I just want to know what value variable x contains. Then we have to write $x. It will give you the value of $x. Okay. Let's create few more variables. So let's create variable y with some integer value. Okay, if you have to access or if you have to know what variable y contains, you can just write $y. Let's suppose we are creating another variable a which can contain any string value. So a string value should always be written in either double quote or in single quote. Let's access the value. You can create or you can overwrite $a. Okay, so I am just overwriting the value of $a with get date. So in PowerShell, variable can contain any value. We have seen some string value, we have seen string number value, and if you want you can store date also. So get date will give you the current date, and if you want to access the value of $a now, it will give you the current date and time. If you want, you can store the output of any commandlets also in a variable. So let's suppose I want to store the output of get process commandlet in a variable a. Okay, if I want to see what variable a contains, then we can just write $a and see the output of the or the what it contains. Okay, so basically variable can contain output of any commandlet. You can also store paths of any files, any folder. Okay, you can store some string, you can store dates, you can store integer and so on. Okay, is there any way or is there any rule for writing variable name? Okay, so first of all, variable names are not case sensitive in PowerShell. So let's suppose I want to access variable a, I can either write small letter a or caps a, both will be same. So PowerShell variables are not case sensitive. Second thing, you can include or start with number or underscore also. So if you want to create a variable 1a or 1 also, that will also work, and store, let's suppose I want to store the output of get service. in 1a. So it is also a valid 1a is also a valid uh, variable. Just give me a second. Yeah. So let's suppose I want to access the value of $1a. So what basically the thumb rule is, in PowerShell, variable name can include number also, or it can start with number also. It can start with dollar underscore also, right? There is no constraint that variable cannot start with underscore. Also, variable name can include spaces and special characters as well. So let's suppose I have to create a variable with a space, a space b. How I can create such kind of variable which has space in between? Okay, space in the name. So if you are creating any variable which contains a space, then you will have to include or enclose in curly braces. You can see here, and then you can assign some values. So let's suppose I'm assigning get process to this variable, a space b variable. If I have to access the value, then I have to just write the variable within curly braces. Okay. 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 So as of now, we have seen that we need not to specify data type, like whether the variable variable will contain uh, integer value, or it will contain um, string value, or it will contain date value. So based upon the values which we are assigning to any variable, the data type of variable defines. Okay, so can we force PowerShell to accept value or values of any specific data type? Can we force PowerShell? Yes, we can. So how we can force PowerShell to take only specific type of data? To do that, let's see with some examples. To do that, you will have to use type specifier. Okay, so let's see. Let's see, I want to create a variable a, okay, or variable x1. Let's create a new variable, and I want to uh, create a rule, you can say, that x1 will only contain string. So how we can do that? We will have to use square bracket, and inside square bracket you will have to write string. Okay, you can see before creating or before writing dollar sign and variable name, I am writing, or I am using square bracket, and inside the square bracket I am specifying the data type. So data type can be string, it can be int, integer. So for integer you will have to write int, for date you will have to write date. Okay, so let's suppose I am giving some value like hello. Okay, so it has accepted value hello, right? Because hello is a string. Now I am again giving some values 100 or 1000. Okay, and before that I am giving int. So here I am trying to give create a variable which should be of integer type. So I have a specified data type here. Okay, integer. Now since the value is integer, so it has taken and it has not given any error. Let's suppose I forget to give the value as integer, and I am giving the string value here. Okay, I am giving the string value. What it will do? See, it will give you error that input string was not in a correct format, right? Because I the value the value, or you can see, cannot the value hello cannot be converted to uh, system.int32, right? That means hello cannot be converted to this string cannot be converted to integer type, right? So this way you can force PowerShell to accept value or values of any specific data type only. Okay, but it's not a mandatory and also not required if you don't have any such kind of requirement. So simply you can create in PowerShell. It is not mandatory to give type a specifier before the name of variable. Okay, but based upon your requirement you can use it. Now can we see a type of the variable, what type of value it contains? Can we get to know that? So yes, we can do that. So to know the data type, so let's suppose I have created x1 variable, right? And currently it is accepting or let's create new variable so that it will be easy to understand. So let me create one variable x and assign some integer value. Let me access the value of this variable. Okay, now let me verify the data type of this x variable. To verify the data type, there are two ways. One is you will have to use dot and then get type method. So this is a method. Get type is a method which will give you the data type of any variable. You can see name. So this column will give you the data type, and also if value type will be there, system.value type, that means it is a variable. Okay, so just to remember, we'll explain you about this later. Now let's suppose I create another variable y and assign string. Okay, let's see what the value or what the data type of this variable. How we can get to know? We can use dot and after that method get type. Okay, it will give you the type of the variable, the data type of the variable. See, you can see it is a string. Okay, and here you can see system.object. That means it's a kind of object. We will explain, we'll tell you about this later, because till now we have not discussed about class and object concept, so I do not want to go into that. But if you see anywhere system.object, you can understand that this is a kind of array. I will tell you about that just a few minutes later. Okay, so and also there is one other way by which you can get to know about the data type. You can use pipeline operator and then use get member. So get member will give you the output. The methods and properties will discuss later, but as of now you can see string. It is a kind of string. Okay, so the data type, it will give you the data type. If I want to see the data type of variable x, then again I can use pipeline operator and then get member. See, it is integer type, int32. Okay, so there are two ways to know the data type of any variable. One is get type method and another one is you will have to use pipeline and then get member commandlet. Okay, now so basically with the variable which we create, okay, is session specific. As soon as you will close this session, variable will be removed. Okay, let's see how. So we have created y variable, we have created x variable, right? So as soon as we will close this session, these variables will not be used. You cannot use them later. So let's suppose I again open up another session. Let's try to access variable y. See, it is not giving any value. Why? Because this variable does not exist in this session. Okay. Now, so there are few built-in variables also. So the PowerShell has its own built-in variables. So how we can get to know about built-in variables, or what are the built-in variables? To to know about the list of built-in variables, you can use get-variable commandlet. It will give you the list of built-in variables. Some variables, the value of some variables you can change. For example, you can change debug preference value. Okay, currently it is containing silently continue. You can change it to continue. Similarly, you can change confirm preference value. Currently it is containing high. You can change it to medium or low. So some values can be changed, but some values are fixed. Okay, some values, for example, false is variable false is containing false. Okay, so you cannot change it. Similarly, null. Okay, you cannot change the value. Some value, built-in value, you cannot change, but some built-in value you can change it. But one thing to remember, you cannot delete any built-in variable. You cannot remove any built-in variable. These variables will always present in any of the PowerShell session. Okay, these are built-in variables. There is one other way also to get the list of built-in variables, that is using. So for that you will have to change the directory, and we all know that variable is also a kind of uh, drive in PowerShell. We call it as PS drive, right? Now you can see we are into variable drive. You can use dir. Dir is a alias for get-child item commandlet. You can use this and get to know all the list of variables, built-in variables. Okay, so either you can use get-variable, or you can use you can change the directory to variable drive, and then you can use get-child item, or you can use dir alias. Okay, so this will give you the list of all variables. Okay, so basically variables can be used in some scripts. So let's suppose we have to add two numbers. Okay, we have to add 10 plus 20. Okay, see, you can get the 30. So instead of writing 10 and 20, you can store 10 in a variable and 20 in another variable. Okay, you can store 10 and 20 in variables, and here you can store the resultant of, instead of writing 10 plus 20, we can use variable a plus, we can write variable a plus variable b, and we can store them, we can store the resultant of $a plus $b into another variable called $c. To get to know or the value of $c, you will have to write $c now and see the resultant is 30. Okay, similarly, so here plus operator is an arithmetical operator, right? Because numbers are 10 and 20. If you have to join two strings, okay, if you have to join two strings, let's suppose you have to join Ram and Shyam. These are the two strings. You have to add or you have to join these two strings. So first of all, strings, if these two are the strings, then it should be written in double quote. And to join, you will have to again use plus operator, but this time plus operator will behave as concatenation operator because it is working on two different strings. So this time it will not be it will not be an arithmetic operator or plus operator. This time it will be behaving like concatenation operator. Okay, so let's see what is the data type of this $a variable. To get to know of the data type, either you can use getType method or you can use pipeline operator and getMember. Okay, see, it is string type. Okay, let's suppose I have to add one string and another one variable integer. Okay, so let's suppose I have to add one string and another one a integer. Okay, let's see the output first and let's see the data type. To see the data type of any variable, you will have to use getType method or pipeline operator with get-member commandlet. See, so if you are adding one string and an integer, the data type of the resultant variable will be string only. Okay, so this is just to remember. If you are adding string and integer, the data type of resultant variable will be string only. Okay, so now question comes is, can a variable store more than one values? Answer is yes. We have already seen this, that you can store more than one values to a variable. So let's suppose we are creating a variable here. Let's suppose we are creating a variable a, okay, with value get hyphen. So let's suppose I am storing the output of get hyphen process to a variable a. Okay, so obviously get hyphen process will have more than one values. Okay, so now in this case $a will be containing more than one values. Okay, so if any variable contains more than one value, then that variable will become an array. Okay, let's see that. Okay, so to know the items which are stored in this variable, if you have to know all the, if you have to get the values of $a, then you can use $a and execute it. It will give you the list of all values. But if you want to use, or if you want to see the last value, then you can use, or the first value, then you can use square bracket. Under that you will have to write 0, because array stores data with the index 0. We will discuss about this later when we will be covering array in our next session. Okay, so just as a just for now, you can see, if you have to get to know the first item of any array, you can use square bracket. Under a square bracket you have to write 0. If you have to know the last value or last item of this array, you will have to write -1. Okay, okay, so there is one other way also to create any array, that is using sub expression operator. We will cover this topic later, but as of now I'll just tell you that if you want to create any array, okay, you can use sub expression. So this is the sub expression operator. You can use this. Okay, so if you don't have any value, still you can create an array with the sub expression operator. Okay, so let's see. I want to know what is the data type of $a. Is it a variable or an array? How we can know? Either we can use get type method, or we can use get a member. See, here it is, base type is array, not value, right? So let's create, or you can, if you have to assign some values to this array, $a array, then you can write like 1, 2, 3, and number of values you can assign it to it. If the values are in sequence, then you can use 2 dots and write the last number or last value. So it will store 1 to 10. Okay. So this is quick introduction about array. Okay, you might have seen a special kind of variable. Let me show you that kind of variable. So you might have seen this kind of variable which starts with env colon, right? Env colon. You might have used this. So what kind of variable is this? This is an environment variable. Okay. So environment variable is defined by operating system, and it contains OS related information like computer name, directories, etc. Okay, environment variable can be used by software programs, okay, during the execution or during the uninstallation, during the installation. Okay, and values of any environment variable can vary from one computer to another computer, and also it depends upon user who logs into the computer. Okay, so basically environment variable can contain dynamic values which depends upon computer to computer and user to user. Let's see some of the environment variable. So in Windows, if you want to see in Windows command prompt, if you have to see the list of environment variable, okay, then you can simply write set and it will give you the list of all environment variable. Okay, so these are the environment variables. See, system drive, system root, temp. So these are some environment variable. So let's suppose why I said that environment variable contains dynamic values which depends upon computer to computer and user who logs into the computer. Why? Because let's suppose in one of the computers you have installed operating system in C drive, then system drive will become C drive. And let's suppose you have installed operating system to D drive in one of the other computers, then there you will find system drive will be D drive. Okay, so it depends upon how you have installed operating system, and it depends upon what the users who logged into this machine. Okay, because you can see some of the variable contains data related to users also. In PowerShell, if you have to get to know the list of all environment variable, okay, then you can use environment variable in PowerShell. I think we have already covered this. So in environment variable is also a it is also a drive, PS drive. So you can change the directory to env. Okay, and now you can use dir command to get the list of all environment variable. If you have to there is another way also to get the list of all environment variable. You can use get hyphen item and env. Okay, so here you can give, so let's suppose I want to know about home path environment variable. You can find this way the value of home path environment variable. Okay. Okay. So this is, so wherever you see anything which starts with env, okay, similar to this env dollar, after that env colon, then you can easily identify that this is an environment variable, not a normal user defined variable or built-in variable. Okay. So okay, so now we will see how. Okay, question comes is how we can will comment out some lines. So if you are writing a script and you have to comment out some lines, then how you can comment out some lines. Okay, let's suppose, let me create a script, write host. What? Okay, so let's suppose I have to comment out line number 2. I do not want to execute this line, okay, in this script. Then you will have to use hash. So in PowerShell, hash is the symbol or keyword or key. Using that, you can comment out any line. Okay. See, the output is only hello world, not hello team. So let's suppose in and also if you have a number of lines and you want to comment them all at a time, then you can use this angular bracket hash, and it will comment out the set of lines. Okay, so you need not to come and write hash in every line. You can comment it out using hash with the angular bracket. Okay, now let's suppose you have to see the snippets. So snippets, how you can see the snippets in PowerShell editor. You can use Control J and press Control and then J. It will give you the list of snippets. So if you have to see the syntax of any statement like do while, you can use the snippet and get the syntax. So here it will you need not to write the syntax, you can simply write your logic inside this. So Control J will give you the list of all snippets present in ISC. Okay, PowerShell ISC. Okay, so one more important topic is what is the difference between single quote and double quote. So you might have seen that if you have to store string, then you will have to use double quote or single quote. So let's see that first. So let's suppose I have created a variable a, it's ram1, and another variable b, okay, with sham1, and now I want to put $a, then age, and or $a or $b. Okay, let's store this into a variable and see the content of $c now. Okay, so it should come like ram1 is a friend of sham1, right? So the expected output is ram1 is a friend of sham1 because $A contains ram1 and $B, the value of $B is sham1. Okay, so we have seen that we can uh, store any variable or we can store any string either in double quote or in single quote. Let's contain this string in single quote. Now let's run it. See, the output, expected output or the real output is $A is a friend of $B. Now it is not able to access the value of $A and $B. So if you will write variable inside single quote, you will not be able to access the value of that variable. Okay, that will become a string. Variable will also become a string. Okay, so always try to use double quote instead of single quote for any string or any variable. If you are writing or if you are putting any variable inside single quote, then you should be very careful because the value of that variable cannot be accessible, right? Okay, now coming to the next point, what is the difference between write host and write output? So we'll see what is the difference between write host and write output. So what is the use of these two commandlets, write host and write output? So the use of these two commandlets is if you have to display anything on console, you can use these two commandlets. Okay, so if you have to display anything on the console, either you can use write host or you can use write output. Okay, let's run these two lines. Let's execute them. See, the first is showing hello world and another is showing hello team. So what is the difference between these two commandlets? First is, let's see with some syntactical difference. So you can use foreground color parameter and assign some values. Again, you can use background and assign some value. For this, let's see, is there any parameter with the foreground color? No. So this is one of the difference, that write host has foreground color and background color as a parameter, whereas write output does not contain these two parameters. So next, and the major difference between these two commandlets is, let's see with the example. So let me remove these two. Let me remove these two parameters. Okay, now we will use where. So we will be using pipeline operator and then where object commandlet. Let's use the latest syntax. So I'll just write column name here, length equal to or greater than 3. So the length of the string is greater than 3. So I have given this condition here. If it is true, then output should be displayed. Let's write the same condition on line number 2 as well. And now let's run this. So what will be the expected result? Same, hello world and hello team, right? Because in both of the lines conditions are true. Now let's change the condition. Let's change it to 100 and here also 100. So in both of the lines conditions are false now. Let's run this. So expected output should be nothing, right? Because here also in the first line condition will be false, and in the second line also condition will be false. Oh, the output hello world is showing. So hello world is coming from line number 1. That means it is not working, right? The condition which we have given is not working. So the major difference between write host and write output is write host does not work with pipeline. Okay, write host does not work with pipeline. It does not give the output to the next commandlet which is available in the pipeline. Okay, whereas write output works. So always remember, write host will not work with pipeline. It will immediately show the output and exit, come out from the pipeline. It will not give the output to the next commandlet present in the pipeline. Okay, and that's the reason you are able to see the output hello world on the console. So this is the major difference between write host and write output. Okay, so this was that's all for today, and hope the session was informative. Okay, thanks for watching.